You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7, on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel posted more Fantastic Four trailer footage with a notable Franklin Richards scene. The scene is meant to be a big Easter egg for his appearance in the movie because she's meant to be pregnant with Franklin Richards, and this scene basically confirms that this is what's going on during the actual scene. There's a bunch of this that they featured during the CinemaCon trailer that they didn't post online, and it just seems like now they're finally posting some of that online, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Easter eggs, because I know everybody's just wondering, how is Marvel going to handle Franklin Richards in live action, because he is so OP in the comics. If you think there are questions about power scaling now, just wait till after we start getting trailers for Avengers Secret Wars. It is going to get so much crazier. The whole idea in the clip here is it's meant to be a joke on them having dinner at Sunday night every 7 p.m. Eastern Time because they're in New York City. That's where the Baxter Building is. And Reed Richards had made this big deal about how they were never late no matter what they were doing. Every Sunday, 7 o'clock on the dot. They were all there no matter what was going on in their lives. But in the brand new CinemaCon trailer that they released, Reed and Sue show up late. Johnny Storm wondering why they're late. Like, you're late. What's going on? What's the deal? So there's like 3 or 4 different layers to the actual joke that's going on here during this moment. It's awkward because they're late to dinner and they were always supposed to be on time. Reed Richards was the person that made the big stink about them always being on time. One of the other jokes being that she's late as in her period is late because she is pregnant with Franklin Richards. Like, they've already figured it out together and they're getting ready to tell everyone else that they're also going to have the baby. Notice that Johnny Storm is wearing a Fantastic Four themed shirt, but also he's eating a box of Lucky Charms with himself on the cover. And it's actually an image taken from a real-life Fantastic Four pinup page in the comics that Jack Kirby drew from Fantastic Four number 3 in 1961. And in real life, Marvel posted this clip on the Fantastic Four account 44 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, like 44 minutes late. So the marketing for this movie is just off the chain. Whoever's doing this is having a little bit of fun. That was why everybody thought they were going to release more footage on 4/14, because 4/14 for the Fantastic Four.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Just baking as many Easter eggs in many different layers to as many jokes as possible to the marketing for this movie. Notice that the actual pose that he's doing in this Jack Kirby illustration, which, like I said, is from real life, a real-life Fantastic Four issue, he actually does in the trailer when you see him fly into space, though, but his flames cut out because there's no oxygen in space, and he needs oxygen for his flames to work. Now, the actual story for this particular issue that the image appears in involved them fighting Miracle Man. I don't know if he's going to be featured during the movie or there'll just be an Easter egg for him in the background, because supposedly when the movie picks up, Galactus, Silver Surfer show up and it's the main plot of the movie, they've already fought a lot of their big villains from the comics. They've already had their big origin story. So maybe there'll be some references to some previous battles that they had with classic comic book characters. There are a couple other Easter eggs that actually happened during that particular issue too. Their blue costumes made their first appearance in the issue, which also explained that their costumes were based on their original spacesuits they wore when they first got their powers. There were a couple images they also released with different suits, like there are these spacesuits that they wear, then there are the separate spacesuits that you see them standing by, and you can actually notice here that Ben Grimm's is way bigger and the faceplate is different because it's meant to be after they've gotten their powers. This particular Fantastic Four number 3 issue is also notable because it was the beginning of their Fantastic Four fan page where Marvel would publish fan letters that people would send in. That became a really, really big thing in the 1960s, and part of the whole idea with Fantastic Four is that they debuted before the Avengers, before Iron Man, before most of Marvel's really big heroes that you've been seeing during the Infinity Saga in live action. So a lot of the firsts that Marvel had, like the first time they ever did particular things, happened in Fantastic Four comics because they just started doing those before a lot of the other comics. And one of the other funny connections in real life is a lot of you probably found my channel because of Game of Thrones videos back in the day. George R. R. Martin has a long history with the comics just in general, Marvel comics, DC comics in particular. But you might remember that George R. R. Martin even had one of his childhood fan letters published in a Fantastic Four issue back in the day. He wrote in a fan letter that was gushing on Fantastic Four issue number 17 in 1963. Now that particular issue, number 17, was them fighting Doctor Doom. But he was only 15 at the time, and just the year after that, in 1964, he also attended the very first real-life comic book convention ever anywhere in the world.
Which was a letter I wrote about Fantastic Four number 17, which is the first time anything of mine had appeared in print.
If you're like me and you were not alive during the 1960s, or like you didn't start following George R. R. Martin till like the 90s or the 2000s, or when the Game of Thrones books really started to take off, A Song of Ice and Fire, or the TV show started to take off, the reason why we found out about all this, why he started talking about this, is because Game of Thrones was basically on the rise, like the hype level was rising, just as the hype for the Marvel Infinity Saga was rising in real life too, as they were building towards Infinity War. You remember that the final season of Game of Thrones, Season 8, wound up airing right around the same time that they released Avengers Endgame. Now in the actual CinemaCon trailer, the whole idea is that Reed and Sue knew that she's pregnant and they're getting ready to tell everybody else, like they're telling Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm. So the whole idea is that after this, he jokes that Sue's going to be a great mother, but Reed has some work to do. Like there's still a lot of playful energy between Johnny Storm and Reed, even though Reed and Sue have been together for a long time. The four of them have felt like a family together for a long time already. The way they explain it is that they were already called the Fantastic Four before they got their powers. So the actual group had been a team together for a long time even before they got their powers. To make the Avengers MCU comp, it'd be sort of like if the Avengers were already a team together before they actually had their superhero origin stories. Then all of a sudden one day something crazy happens, they get bombarded with cosmic rays, Fantastic Four style, and they all become superheroes and they become the superpowered version of the Avengers. But at least the way that Matt Shakman, the director, Kevin Feige, the Marvel people have been explaining the Fantastic Four in their separate universe is that there is no other superhero team, like none other exists. We're not supposed to see a whole bunch of Easter eggs for other versions of MCU characters in their universe. They are the Earth's only actual defense when Galactus shows up. That's meant to be the whole thing, is that everybody on planet Earth expects them to save the Earth. The only exception to that, I believe, will be Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is supposed to make his first appearance somewhere in the movie. Most of us are expecting it at the very end of the film as sort of like a tag Easter egg for Avengers Doomsday, or maybe like the post-credit scene. Supposedly, the alternate version of Steve Rogers that Chris Evans is playing is also supposed to be featured in some kind of post-credit scene. We'll see about that. One of the other reasons why Matt Shakman said that he didn't want to use that Doctor Doom, like Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, as the main villain of the first movie was because the character is just so big. He would just encompass so much of the story, like he would take up so much air, is the way that he talked about it. If you really think about it, I kind of agree with him. Like, if they actually had Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom in most of the Fantastic Four movie, most people in real life would be going to that movie just to see Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. They wouldn't be thinking too much about this new Fantastic Four team. And I think Kevin Feige really, really wants these new Fantastic Four characters to become big parts of the MCU going forward, so he wants to focus most of this movie on developing them as a family first, then sort of like rolling in like really big characters like Doctor Doom. We will see if it all winds up working out. There are a lot of people that were also asking me about this image of Robert Downey Jr. that they thought might be test footage of him as Doctor Doom that had leaked out, but I think this is meant to be fake, just because it looks so much like the Spy Kids version of a Marvel movie, like Spy Kids Doctor Doom or the Shark Boy and Lava Girl version of Doctor Doom. Also, right now, his hair looks kind of like this, so this is probably closer to what his Doctor Doom hairstyle is going to be. There are a couple other interesting details too. He said when they were doing Galactus, normally you would assume they would just do it completely in visual effects, but he said that they did a combination of motion capture and they built an actual physical Galactus suit in addition to a lot of motion capture. We will see how that winds up looking out on screen. I think that's one of the reasons why they've also held back on a lot of their Galactus first looks, like you just see him from the back of his head. If you've not seen any of the stuff that Ralph Ineson has done, he's fantastic in all his stuff. He's a notable character actor that's been in a bunch of big movies, but he has also done a lot of voiceover. In Galactus, just feels like a really important voice to nail. There are a couple other notable Fantastic Four things that Marvel just did while this is all going on in live action. They just released a special trailer for the Fantastic Four fighting Doctor Doom for the first time in the comics to celebrate Doctor Doom's debut in Marvel Comics, which is supposed to be today. Like, today is supposed to be the anniversary of Doctor Doom's first appearance. That was way back in Fantastic Four number 5 in 1962. What Marvel's probably going to do with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is they'll hold back on the official looks till they actually start dropping the first real teaser trailer for the movie at the very end of the year. That's typically the schedule that Marvel is on for big Avengers movies. Like, when it's releasing the spring of the next year, they'll release the first teaser trailer by the end of November or early December. So just expect them to release that first Avengers Doomsday teaser by then. Would also not be surprised if it's just a voiceover-only Doctor Doom appearance, like you just hear Robert Downey Jr.'s voice as Doctor Doom. Which is a big question too. Will he use an accent for the voice? We will see. Everybody post all your predictions in the comments below. If you have any big questions or any Easter eggs you spotted in the brand new trailers that I didn't talk about in this video, write them below in the comments. We will get a bunch more trailers for this really soon. And do not forget, the Daredevil Born Again finale is tonight. Hopefully they wind up sticking the landing. My video for that will post Wednesday morning. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss that. Everybody click here for that episode video. I'll update the link as soon as I post it. And click here for that brand new Thunderbolts trailer that Marvel just released. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.